Have you ever replaced someone on your team only to see the same problem show up again, the same challenges that you were having with a previous employee, right? Perhaps deadlines begin to slip, quality fluctuate, the service experience is not the same, execution for some reason feels inconsistent. And so you hire again. Unfortunately, again, you hire again. At some point, you start thinking maybe we just need stronger, better people. But is that the case? What if, what if the issue is not who you hired, but what they walked into? What if? So in this video, I'm going to show you why performance problems, because oftentimes that's what it is. Performance problems in scaling service companies, service scaling businesses are usually environmental problems rather than performance or people. And I'll show you how clarity and structure determine output far more than talent will ever will. And I have watched this pattern repeat itself across scaling teams for years. And I'm going to show you exactly what happens and how you can avoid it too. Oftentimes, I see different people with the same outcomes until the environment changes. And that's the problem I see all the time. So if you've ever thought we just need stronger people, that doesn't make you naive. I want to assure you that that's not the case. In fact, it makes you growth oriented. Why? Because you want higher standards. You care about your team. You just want your team to execute in a way that makes sense. So stronger execution is a big part of what you do. But most importantly, you want leverage. And hiring feels like leverage. And so I can understand the frustration. But here's something deeper happening. Often in scaling businesses, performance drops, okay? Deadlines slip as a result, and then quality fluctuate because you have different people doing different things. So the conclusion with leaders becomes we hired the wrong people or we hired the wrong person. But if you zoom out a little bit, you start to see a pattern that not many see. But what you see is different people, same problems. That's not a coincidence. That's just the environment. Because when you think about it for a second, when you pass 10 employees in your business, complexity just compounds. It's more like the natural law. That's what is supposed to happen. And here's the part most leaders underestimate that I see a lot among businesses is that environment shapes behavior more than intention does. Strong performers adapt downward to unclear systems. It's just the truth. So without realizing it, it can be hard to tell what the problem is. And that's why this lie becomes more expensive when you continuously think it's the people. You don't just pay in salary, you pay in turnover, right? And turnover is expensive. Research shows it can cost up to half to 2 times the annual salary to replace someone. The rehiring, the cultural drift, the reputation erosion, and worst of all, it's the misdiagnosis, and because that is just wasted time as a result. So take Southwest Airlines, for example. Early on, they were terrible. Their turnaround times were inefficient. Let's just put it blunt. They couldn't have said, and they didn't say, we need sharper crews or better people, or we need more disciplined staff. I mean, that was never the answer with Southwest. Instead, they studied the NASCAR pit crews, not because the pilot or their team lacked talent, no, but because the environment determines performance. And that was something Southwest realized early on, that they had the wrong systems in order to create the right environment for their team. So they redesigned and focused on role clarity, understanding handoffs clearly what that looked like, and creating and building systems around them. And then having the type of employees who can execute that. So it wasn't because the environment changed, It was because they focused on building the right systems and made the environment better. They didn't fix the people, they fixed the systems. And that's what you have to understand. And that's the difference. You have to understand that it's all about the systems and fixing the environment as a result, not the people. So let's look at the performance equation, because that's what it is. Performance equals talent times clarity times environment. That's it. Most leaders focus on talent like entirely. Like that's all they focus on. They think the magic is in talent. But if clarity or environment equals zero, performance will collapse because the talent cannot just hold the system if the system is never clearly defined. So let's unpack this, starting with talent. Talent is a multiplier, not a foundation. We have to clearly understand that because high performers don't create structure, they just operate within it. So if you don't create a structure, it's going to be hard for them to operate within it. And that's why good people struggle inside a bad system. Because when expectations are unclear, even talented people will suffer. They will struggle. And as a result, they overcompensate, they hesitate because they are not sure, and they work in silos. They create their own interpretations. Because oftentimes you delegate when you hire someone, but you never create systems around it. And it's important to understand that alignment is better than agreement. And if there's no alignment, then that's what creates variability, and variability destroys skill. So when you have clarity, that changes everything. And so the next thing in the performance equation is clarity. Clarity defines the outcomes. It defines ownership. It defines the decision right. And when clarity is strong, I mean, everything changes. Average people, for example, begin to perform consistently because there's alignment. When clarity is weak, however, high talent performers are inconsistent as a result. And consistency beats brilliance in business every single time. And that's a hard truth. And that's something that's hard to understand among most business leaders. And finally, the environment. You see, environment shapes behavior. That's it. And this is the most overlooked principle. Oftentimes, most leaders think talent is a foundation. No, but it's the environment. Because the environment includes everything that is happening within your organization. The consequences, communication, thereof or not, or the operational standard, the cultural tolerance for mediocrity. I mean, that all impact the overall environment. So if your environment rewards speed over quality, people will just start cutting corners. That's just human nature. If your environment tolerates ambiguity, okay, people will start guessing because they are not sure. They don't know. They try to make it up as they go. And then leaders, as a result, start to blame the talent, start to blame the people. But behavior follows structure. Always. Always. No one can disagree to that. If you don't have the right structure, you cannot build the systems you want and you cannot blame your people. So this is what I want you to do. Ask yourself these questions. Have you replaced multiple people in the same role with similar outcomes? Have you? Then, do you hire or do your new hires struggle with the same friction points? Do they? And finally, is excellence dependent on certain personalities? That's key. Because if you answered yes to any of these, the issue isn't who you hired. It's what who you hired walked into. Do they have the right systems and do they have the right environment? And this realization shouldn't be discouraging because I get it. It can be. But I want to encourage you that is actually empowering because you can't fully control talent. I believe hiring is guessing. You have to take your chance. But you can completely control clarity and environment design. That's something that you can do. You can design the environment you want in your organization right now. And to me, that's leverage. And so inside the masterclass, I run a masterclass where I help service-based businesses see and avoid the gaps and mistakes that they are making. And these masterclass, I go deeper into everything that we have discussed today. And if you want to go deeper, and if this resonates with you, we'll go deeper inside the masterclass. I'll leave the link in the description below, and I'm going to help you ensure that your people understand exactly what to do. So before you hire your next employee, before you hire your next talent, make sure that you redesign the environment and register for the masterclass below, where I'll show you how to build clarity, engineer the right environment so your people stay, and then let talent multiply what you've already stabled or what you've already built as an organization. I'll see you in the next video.